to come on and share my story since it is Myasthenia Gravis Awareness Month. Today is June 1st, and the whole month of June is Myasthenia Gravis Awareness Month. And what I'd like to do is tell a little bit about what my story is and what I went through. I've had the disease for, in July will be 2 years now. And so I want to come on and tell how I'm doing and what medicines I'm taking and how I'm coping with the disease. And so first I'd like to give or try to give like a proper definition of what myasthenia gravis is. So this definition is coming from Google. Myasthenia gravis is a rare chronic autoimmune disease marked by muscle weakness without atrophy. Atrophy means muscle wasting, and caused by a defect in the action of acetylcholine at the neuromuscular junctions. And so it's a weakness and rapid fatigue of muscles under voluntary control. So what are some of the symptoms of myasthenia gravis? And that would be drooping of one or both eyelids, blurred or double vision, slurred speech, difficulty chewing or swallowing, weakness in arms and legs, chronic muscle fatigue, difficulty breathing. So those are the symptoms and definition of myasthenia gravis. I will try my best to like give a different definition so someone else might be able to understand. So what happens in a normal person that doesn't have myasthenia gravis and they don't have any kind of muscle weakness, they're able to just go and just lift up something and pick up this can, and or they might be able to like another example I can use, like if you were beating eggs, a normal person will be able to beat the eggs for a good while beating the eggs. They wouldn't get tired. So a person that's that has myasthenia gravis, and this is an example that happened to me, like a normal can of vegetables that you would open with a can opener. My hands were so weak. I had trouble like just opening and turning the knob to the same receptors, and the acetylcholine is now blocked. So the acetylcholine cannot get into the receptor for us to move our muscles. So that was what causes the muscle weakness, the muscle fatigue. And so what happens is there's antibodies circulating in our body that prevents this from happening in a person with myasthenia gravis. And the antibodies are thought to be produced in the thymus gland. The thymus gland is a gland that we use to get through puberty, and after that we don't need it anymore. So it's just sitting there. It's used for growth in puberty and to get us into adulthood. After that we don't use it anymore. So what is thought to be treatment for that is removing the thymus gland, and a person would go into remission, or a person would have less. In 2013, in July, I started having symptoms. I went to bed as normal. I'm also a type 1 diabetic, so I took care of everything with my diabetes, so it couldn't have been my diabetes. I went to bed. I woke up that next morning and I had blurry and double vision. That's what my symptom was. So I called my glaucoma specialist, and I thought that it was something that related to my glaucoma. I have glaucoma just in my right eye. So I called her and I got an appointment the same day, and I saw her. and she suggested that I had a mini TIA, which is just a mini stroke. So she booked an appointment for me to go to Seattle, Washington, where I was living, which was an hour away from Seattle. But she booked an appointment for me to go see a neurologist in Seattle. And that wasn't until November, late November, I think. But at the time I saw her, I had to wait because he was fully booked. So I waited, and I got a job in October at Old Navy. And so while I was working at Old Navy, you know, there's a lot of typing. You know, you have to put in email addresses, and you have to use a computer and cash handling and what have you. So I noticed that when I would type, like my fingers, I would want to type fast as I usually would, but November it started getting worse. I was still working at Old Navy, but I wasn't working full time or even part time. So I guess that helped. And then on top of that, I was still in medical school. So I was going about my daily day in medical school, and I couldn't see computer screens. I had trouble writing. I had trouble focusing for long periods of time. I couldn't do speed tests that were required for school. So then in December 2013, I finally got to the neurologist in Seattle, and he gave me a physical exam, looked at my face, asked me if I could hold my arms up for however many minutes, push down on my legs and my arms, what have you. But then he pulled up a picture and he said, well, I'm pretty sure you have Myasthenia Gravis, because at this point my eyelid was drooping. I still had the double vision, and I was feeling tired. So I was like, really? And so he ordered a blood test to check my vitamin D levels. And it took about, I guess, a few days, maybe like 3 or 4 days. And it was confirmed that I had Myasthenia Gravis. But he sent me home on 1 tablet of Mestinon, which is a medicine that controls symptoms of Myasthenia Gravis. He sent me home on Mestinon, 1 every 3 to 4 hours. I think that's what I was taking in the beginning, and that was it. So I went home and I was taking it. I took the first one when I got home and picked it up from the pharmacy, and that is what did it. That really controlled my symptoms. My vision wasn't as blurry, and my eyelid was like how they look now, like normal. So he asked me if I wanted to stay with him and travel to Seattle on the ferry, hour ride, to go see him every month. And I said, no, I'll choose a neurologist that's closer to home. So I chose a neurologist that was closer to home. He still had me on Mestinon, but I saw him maybe like 5 or 6 times out of the total that I was with him. And this new neurologist really upset me, because I'm telling you, at this point, the 1 tablet of Mestinon was not working for me anymore. My symptoms were like getting worse. So I tried to tell him that 5 or 6 times. And I said, well, can we explore other options? So Imuron is one of the diseases that I want. Imuron is one of the medicines that I was interested in taking, because it doesn't affect a woman's birth control. And I needed something that was going to help me to like live a better quality of life, because I was at home, I was always laying down, I was always tired. So I asked him, can I do Imuron? And he would always say, well, next time you come in, when you're sure that, you know, we'll start you on Imuron. And I said, well, I am sure. I said, can I please get the Imuron? He would never put me on the Imuron. He would always say, well, you know, it'll be easy for you to get colds and bacterial infections because what Imuron does, it lowers your, it suppresses your immune system, so it does make you easily susceptible to colds and what have you. So you do have to like be careful about that. People coughing, and you need to wash your hands on a regular basis just to kill germs. So I wasn't happy with his care, so I went to another neurologist from the military. Because my husband's in the military, I decided to go back to the military and see a neurologist there. The first time I saw her and told her this whole story that's been happening over a year, so then I moved to Virginia Beach now, and I started feeling tired again. I started feeling, my arms start feeling achy, and they start feeling tired, like symptoms all over again, but these are new ones. So along with new symptoms, I have the double vision coming back again. I have droopy eyelids. It'll just be one, and it'll switch like every so often. It'll be just one eyelid, and this one will be fine, or it'll be this eyelid and the other one will be fine. But I had double vision, droopy eyelids, my hands were feeling very weak, and my arms were feeling very weak. So the neurologist that I see now, he told me that I should go ahead and have a thymectomy. And a thymectomy is just the removal of the thymus gland to prevent those antibodies from circulating in my body, which causes the symptoms of myasthenia gravis. So he suggested that I do a thymectomy, but I wasn't ready, and I'm ready now, but I wasn't ready then, because that's a major surgery, thymectomy, to have your thymus removed. And so I told him no, that I didn't want to do that right now because I'm scared. And he thought that I could really benefit from it. So what he did suggest, and I'll put a picture in, it's not a very good picture, but I'll put a picture in. What he did suggest is that I go through IVIG. Which is accepting plasma. So plasmapheresis. That's what I would do for 5 days. 5 days, 5 consecutive days straight. Can't miss a day. So I would go through plasma treatments, and that would help alleviate my symptoms. And so I did. About a month ago, I started going through IVIG. Now, IVIG, some people don't have bad side effects. I did, and this is just my opinion on IVIG. Some of the side effects are diarrhea, vomiting. I can't remember the other ones, but the ones that I had, it made me feel, and migraines. I already have migraines like a few times, maybe 2 or 3 times a month. But when I went through IVIG, the first day was fine, didn't have any symptoms. They said to stay hydrated. I don't drink a lot of water anyway. I should though. But they said to stay hydrated. The second day, I started feeling like sick as a dog. So I started having terrible migraines, like no medicine would alleviate it. So, you know, maybe I could have like drank a ton of water to help that, but on top of that, I couldn't keep any food down.